Hey, everybody. Hello and welcome, and hello to all of you catching this later on during a replay. I so appreciate that you're here. If you are catching this on a replay, let me know. Let me know that you're here. Just give me a hashtag replay and tell me where you're tuning in from. I'm hoping that somebody will pop in here really quickly. Let me know if you can hear everything okay. I'm doing a double video here so that you can see the work as I'm creating. So I want to make sure that all of the techie stuff is working and everybody can hear me. Hi, Mary. Can you hear me okay? Let me know. Hey, girl. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Oh, it's so good to see everybody. Iowa. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm actually streaming both on over on YouTube and over on Facebook as well. So let me know where you're tuning in from so I can know where you're at. Good. Thank you, Tammy. I so appreciate it. How's everybody? Are you getting ready for Christmas? Are you just like behind? I'm behind. Hi, Derek. I'm a little bit behind, but that's normal because it's like I have two places to prep for. I have my work home, and my home. Hey, Mitzi, how are you? It has been just a hot minute since I've been on here actually doing an art project live. So I thought I would come and paint live. I'm going to paint another bird. I have a local friend that wanted one of the cardinals that I painted, and I want to hop on here and just get started on that. Hi, Pammy. There's my Pam. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started and chit chat to all of you while I'm painting. So you're welcome to join along. Those of you, I know a lot of you that watch are artists as well and painters. And so I encourage you guys to, if you're at home and you don't have all your supplies pulled out, go grab your journal. Hopefully, you all have a journal. I sure hope so. And that is something that's really, really cool to keep right beside your table, in your chair, in your living room, or wherever you hang out in the evening. If you're sipping on some tea or whatever, always have that little journal right there so that when you see people creating, you can either jot down notes, you can do a little bit of journaling, you can do a little bit of just kind of sketching ideas. If you see something that you like that the artist is doing, maybe it's a specific color or a product or a brush, you can have it right there, jot it down. Maybe you like a technique that they're doing. That's a great way to just kind of doodle and get some ideas for your next project, because that's what we always like to do here is encourage all of you to pick up your brushes and paint. So I hope that you will do that. All right. So let me just change. There we go. I'm trying to get fancy here. Let me just change this. And I have already started with just a really, really fast sketch. Not the best sketch, just a quick sketch. And it's not, there we go. Kind of distorting a little bit. Hi, Miss Kristen. Here I am. I know I haven't been on here in quite a while. So what I'm going to do, I like to put some brighter highlights on that background. And so I'm going to go ahead and just throw on some bright colors for the background. Now, I'm going to cover some of this, but I just think that it's kind of cool just to have an underlayer painted. Hi, Mary and Raymond. I'm not sure which one of you are here, but hello to you too. Mary, if that is you, girly girl, love that last piece that you just did. Okay, so crazy bright. I know this is a fluorescent pink. It is, well, it's fluorescent pink. And I'm just going to lay in some background colors right now. And I've got it mixed in with some water. So it's pretty darn light. It's going to dry very quickly. So that is the one thing that I've noticed, that I have to think about when I'm teaching a class. I do a lot of live teaching. I have my art group that I teach, and it's really hard painting very thick because I do have limited time. So by all means, if you're doing this at home, you can paint a little bit thicker, and then you're just going to wait till the layers dry if need be. Okay, so that was my fluorescent. I've got some rouge here. I've already got it out, and I'm going to dip into this a little bit. By the way, I am using my poor little beat up Boss brush by the Turquoise Iris. This is just a flat brush that I'm using. Kristen says, no, I wasn't saying that. I haven't either. I was looking for you tonight. You were. Well, you found me. Be that good or bad, right? You found me. So this brush is really nice. I'm kind of just cutting into the edges of this little bird. And this little bird that I painted, it was a female cardinal, because I'm like, why do the guys get all the attention, right? Those boy cardinals, those real bright ones. So I painted this girl one, and she's going to be a little bit softer in color, but she's just as beautiful. And so that's what this is going to be. And again, this is just my underpainting, so I'll go over top of this with some other colors, but this just kind of brightens that background up. And notice I don't have a lot of detail or anything painted on this background. This is just I think, goodness, I want to say, is it 6 by 6? Just a little mini painting. So I did a bunch of these. It might be a 10 by 10. No, I think it's a 6 by 6. Guess I should have measured that. But these little mini paintings have been well received this year. I usually paint quite bigger, but it was nice to be able to just paint some little guys, right? If anybody is over here on YouTube, let me know. Say hello. Let me know if everything's working over there. I hope so. All right, so we're going to let that dry. And we'll start in on the little bird. Let's see. And I think I want to do like kind of I've got my wall of paints back behind me. I'm going to grab some gray, purple, and some violet. And I think I'm going to start there. And again, this will just be my underpainting. That's right. And there she is, says Lori to Kristen. All right, same thing. I'm just going to I missed a little spot on this guy. That's all right. So I think I'm just going to paint him in real quick. And you can kind of, as you start painting, you can kind of adjust adjust the size if you need to of the bird. And again, I'm just doing this just to get an underpainting with some colors. It doesn't really, this is kind of the messy, kind of that messy part of the painting, and I'm just kind of painting a little bit loose. All right. Everybody ready for Christmas? Can't possibly be. Just fill in this little area around his little face. Okay, so there's that. And let me just go ahead and this. Actually, I'm going to use the bright fluorescent on his undertone of his little nose, just for fun. I don't get too caught up on all of the details quite yet. Okay, and then we've got, let's see, so I'm gonna look, I do have a reference picture that I'm looking at of an actual bird, and I am just kind of, I'm gonna hit like the brightest points with that fluorescent. I actually could use, I think I'll change, I'm going to use some fluorescent orange. I think that would be cool. Hey, my Michelle. I'm going to have Dion fighting me for that, huh? She's like, no, that's my Michelle. She doesn't like to share with you, does she? I don't blame her. Oh, thank you, Melanie. How are you? I haven't caught you live in a minute. It's not because I don't want to. I actually haven't been on here a whole lot lately. So, all right. So I have this fluorescent. I changed my mind. I got this fluorescent orange. I can't wait to see you. Miss you. I love seeing all your pictures and those babies. So cute. So I'm just going to go right over that, the pink that I just put in. I think I'm going to wait for the nose. Actually, I think I'll just blot it. It's still pretty wet, so I'm going to lift that up, and then I'm going to drop in this really bright orange. So with the underpainting, guys, that is one thing you don't really have to be too particular. Kind of have fun with it, and you're looking for the brightest areas on your painting. And so that's what I'm doing, looking for those brightest areas, and I'm going to just lay in a little bit of paint. And then I'll come back and I'll do the same thing with some of my darker areas. This is a little bit wet, so yeah, Michelle, that's going to be here before we know it, isn't it? I'm looking forward to it. But it's also like, I always get a little bit anxious this time of year because I'm going to make his head a little bit bigger. Just because I'm coming to the end of the year and I'm already starting to plan for my next year, and I haven't even finished this year yet, so it makes me a little bit anxious when I do that. All right. And it's not too bad. It's getting a little bit darker on me. It's so nice to see everybody that's friends and everybody knows everybody. All right. So, what I was hoping for, this is the bad thing. I'm going to show you a close up of this, and this is kind of that ugly kind of stage that we're in. Hi, my friend. There's my Bobby. And you can see I'm painting down around the bottom. But this is kind of the ugly stage of the painting, and they all have them. They almost always have them. Every artist has a stage. And I always explain it as though you're cleaning. So think about spring cleaning, or when you deep clean, right? When you clean, let's say you're cleaning out your closet and your drawers and everything at your house, right? You make a great big mess before it gets better. And so that's kind of like how I explain, the painting process. You kind of got it. You have to make kind of a little mess before you can get it to kind of pull together. Yes, Kristen says, yes, I feel that I know many entrepreneurs do. We have to always be aware of the enemy trying to make everything feel urgent because he knows it will overwhelm us, right? Exactly. You speak some like mean truth, my friend. I'm just saying. That's why I love you. All right. So there's my base coat. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Viridian, I think, or bright aqua. Very similar. I think I'm going to use this one. And just put a little bit on here. Boy, I'm getting low on paints. So right now I'm using Master's Touch, mostly in Liquitex right now, just acrylics. Nothing fancy. I do have some Nova paints that I use, and I do have some liquid goldens. I just don't have a ton of goldens right now because it is, I don't know, it's a little bit higher price. So, hi Deb. I enjoy the cardinal I purchased from you. It's sitting in my tiered tray. Thank you, Deb. I so appreciate that. So you must have gotten the other one. So I'm trying to recreate it, sort of, kind of, not really. I'm going to do the background a little bit differently, but it'll be good. Be all good. But thank you so much. That means the world to small businesses when y'all support us like that. So we really appreciate that. So, like I was saying, anyway, it's a little bit harder, I guess, when you're working, or at least for me, working on these small pieces because you have that drying time that we're waiting on, right? And so it's almost easier when you have a bigger piece because I can kind of work on sections and it kind of dries. You do a great wrapping up package. Thank you. Well, I'm always worried when I send my babies out to ship. So I made the mistake one time. I had shipped out it was a painting on a screen and wooden, it's a little bit sturdier artwork, so I thought I could get by with not being quite so careful. No, the whole thing was crushed. I mean, I think it was a fluke. I don't think like anything could have helped it. But anyway, I didn't do my extra wrap job, but it actually looked like a foot or something went through it, and I was bummed. I had to repaint something. That happens sometimes. So I'm kind of going around. Oh, I think I did use, I used the brighter one. I was wondering what was going on. It looks a little brighter than what I was thinking, but I think it's gonna work. So let me show you right now what it's looking like. If you can try, I'm making another bird. He's a little abstract looking right now, but what I want to point out to you right now is the background. Okay, so I put the underlayer of the colors that were warmer on the undertone. And so now if you look at that background, you're seeing me layer the cool color, which would be this turquoise, over top of it. And you're seeing these little peaks and little, just little, little areas of that bright that are poking out, right? So there's my third color on there on that background. So we're going to work on the bird a little bit now while that dries. You see a bird? Yes, ma'am. So, Bobby, I'm doing another cardinal. Remember in our Creators Club class, we did the mama cardinal, and I had somebody locally. I'd already sold it, and somebody else wanted it, and so I just told her I'd paint another one for her, and so that's what I'm doing today. And I thought I would just come live and hang out with all of you. I had to wait. It was very, very cold when I came in here today. So, yeah, we had that going on. All right, so I'm going to grab some raw sienna. And this was just Liquitex. And put a little bit of that down. I think I'll need a ton. And let's do probably just a little pinch of raw umber on my plate, and definitely I have I have milky white. I use a little bit. I usually don't even use the milky white, but I will today since it's here. And I think something else that I'm going to use is, find it. This is by Nova. This is yellow ochre. I do really, really like the Nova paints. They're beautiful. And I got that little tip from Betty Franks, who is a abstract artist here on YouTube. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, Betty Franks, and she uses Nova paints, and that's how I found this brand, and I do really like it very well. Has a nice, it's an acrylic paint, has a really nice pigmentation, goes on really nicely, so you guys can give that a try. All right, so let's mix. I'm just going to start mixing in some of these colors. Let's see what I can do. All right, I'm going to make just like this warm kind of a gray, and I'm mixing my milky white with just a little pinch of the umber, raw umber, and we're going to do a little bit of painting in this little guy. And probably if it suits you, you may want to use a smaller brush. For those of you that are newer out there, I tend to use brushes that are really big, and it's just a personal preference. So right now I'm kind of going around, and I'm going to start laying in some of these dark areas. And I'm going to keep my brush. I may need to go to a smaller brush as I work as I work on some of these minute areas of the feathers. A cardinal has been outside my kitchen window for 2 days and it makes my heart happy, says Bobby. Aw, yeah, they're so cute. We have a ton out at our place as well. They're so much fun to watch, aren't they? So much fun. Okay. Just hitting, remember, we're hitting anything that's darker is what we're looking for. Anything that's dark. And we could probably go in and this little eye in there. Getting quiet. Starting to get into the zone. We have so many cardinals too, though. They're so much fun to watch, aren't they? Let me move my picture so I can see a little bit better. Let's see. Like maybe. I do tend to make my birds a little bit chunky. Usually I prefer a chunky bird. I mean, just seem a little bit, it just seem like they look a little bit healthier when they're chunkier, right? Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let me outline her little belly a little bit, just slightly. And then, yeah, it took quite a while to warm up in here, so you're coming back into those winter months where it's getting a little bit chillier. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh, you could see better if I. There you go. Still a little bit distorted, but he's coming along, right? Mm-hmm. Okie dokes. So I think actually this feels pretty dry. I'm going to take some of that same color. I'm going to let some of that dry. Let's dip into that raw umber in that milky white. If you don't have milky white, if you mix your white into a brown tone, it's going to actually kind of become that color anyway. Okay, so we're going to, let's just kind of add in some sticks and branches and just different things. Smaller brush. This is just a student grade brush. I've been traveling with some of my good brushes, traveling around, so I've been carrying them with me, and so when I get in here and I go live, then I'm stuck with my not so good brushes, but that's okay. So I want to add some little light movements, putting in just kind of the illusion that there is branches and little sticks, and they usually hang out in little brushy areas. I kind of want the background to be a little more faint, and I want the bird to be a little more prominent. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit of like, probably just make it look a little bit blurry in the background. I'm going to switch over and grab my bigger, these flat brushes. Sorry, I have this in my mouth. I do that all the time. The flat ones are great for using just different lines. And so I would imagine this little guy is hiding in some kind of thicket or sticker bushes or something like that. So what you want to remember is when you're trying to give the illusion of distance is, you know, anything in the background is going to be a little bit more blurry. And as it comes up front, it'll have a little more definition to it. So I'm going to start lightening up a little bit. I'll put a little more detail in the ones that are a little bit closer. Oops, I hope you guys can see okay. So quiet in the building tonight. Nobody's here on Mondays, so this is a nice quiet time to come in and work on some things. As you can see, I'm just real quickly making some passes here. All right, let me show you guys where I'm at. So this is, there we go. You can see how the background's starting to pop. All those little pinches of colors are really coming together. You can see the branches being built and everything's starting to come forward. All right, so let's go ahead and get moving on back on the bird. So if you notice the way I'm working, and this is how I teach all of the ladies that are in the Creators Club. I teach them to work, you know, back and forth like this. So we're giving everything a chance to dry, and that is a great way to avoid getting your colors muddy when you can dry in between those layers. So you can pretty much have a lot of fun with color that way and let it dry, and then you come up on top of it and start adding more detail, and it just kind of gives it some depth and just some yumminess. All right, so I'm gonna go, let's start dipping into, I've got my, raw sienna. I've got my raw sienna. I've got my yellow ochre, and my milky white. So I think I'm going to start using those, maybe even with a tad bit of brown, and just start working some of my color in there. It's really nice too, if you can, to learn how to mix colors. It's going to really give your work a little more of a custom kind of a look. As you paint, if that makes sense. Rather than using all the colors just straight out of the bottle that it comes in, right? So let's go. Let's see. Start dropping in some of this yellow. I love yellow ochre. Have y'all used yellow ochre before? It's wonderful. If you can see the yellow on there. It's kind of soft, but yet it's very nice. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Somebody was asking about the club opening back up, and I might do a quick, I want to call it like a backdoor opening. Might just do a backdoor opening for Christmas if any of you want to come in. Might be a good Christmas gift for some of you, right? Okay, I'm gonna come down. A little muddy on me there. Hold on. Let's get rid of that. A little muddy. Okay, so I'm going right in with this milky white. I'm going to start layering in some of this white. There's a little belly. Let's see. Just trying to look at some of the lighter areas he has going on, or she. So as I'm coming forward on the bird, I'll be getting thicker with my brush strokes and my paint. It'll start getting thicker and thicker. So you should be able to see now as I'm building the layers. You can kind of see how it's coming together, and yet these little pops of bright highlights are coming through on that undertone. Just a fun way to put some color into your work without without it being like right in your face with the color. So I'm trying to think of a great day to come live on my public page for all of you. And I'm thinking Mondays might be a good day for that. Possibly. Just because I won't be bothering anybody here, and I can just do all kinds of different projects. So that is my goal for the upcoming year, is to get back into the lives and also be showing you not only just, hi Marcia, not only just art projects, but I'll also be doing like maybe some furniture painting techniques, and just even going back to the basics. I know I've got a lot of new people on my page, and so I always want to remember to jump back to the beginning and show people, just the basics even of painting, whether it's how to get a smooth finish or how to wet distress, um, what brushes to use for what. So I'm going to try to get focused back on that realm of things for this year. It's kind of, so like I said, I've already been thinking about the upcoming year and all the things that I want to do. And that is definitely pretty high on the list. So, and I do sell the DIY paint, so of course we'll be showing you guys some different colors and color mixing and just, yeah, kinds of cool stuff like that. All right. Okay, let's see. I feel like I want to jump back over with my big brush. Not real used to working with small brushes anymore, I have to admit. So, I'm going to got brown, milky white. Actually, I need to warm that up a little bit. There we go. Nice and fluffy. Mondays are good for you, Bobby. Awesome. How's it going? Can somebody run over and check and make sure YouTube is working okay? Because it's pretty quiet over there. Just want to make sure everything is working okay with my app. And if not, make sure I get it fixed. Okay. So it's all, everything's under Girl Upcycled. Okay, so we've got a couple of layers of wings here. So we got our first layer of wings, and let's go a little bit darker. Start getting darker as I go down. Oh, thank you, Tammy. Thank you for letting me know. Usually over there they usually catch me on a replay more over there. Okay. So let me show you. This is how she's looking so far. So she's coming right along, isn't she? Thanks, Bobby. Hey, hey. Thanks, Tammy. So this is how she's looking. She's coming along. All right, let me see. Let's do scarlet. A little scarlet. Just a little dab. Little dab will do ya. That's what my daddy always says. All right. Nope. I'm gonna rinse my brush off. It got a little dirty on me. Got a little dirty. All right. So I'm just gonna go in and start laying this. Her little wing just has a little hint of this blush color. And now we don't want to go too overboard. I say as I dip into my fluorescent. Just think it needs a little tad brighter, but we don't want to go too overboard on the female bird, right? And she just has these little touches. So what I'm going to do is water it down. Her tail, she has some bright under her tail, so I'm going to brighten some of that up. She's a little more subdued than her mate. A little more subdued. I think that's wet. I can probably pull some of that off, and that would be just about, oh yeah. So that kind of just softened it just a little bit. Okay. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let me get a smaller brush and I will dip in and let's work on her. So I'm going to pick her up here a little bit. And this is where you can give them some character if you need to. Let's see. Let's start. I'm going to add a little brown, mix with that creamy white just to get some texture going on here. It's all about the layers. My ladies will tell you in my group. It's what I continually tell them. It's all about the layers. Ladies, all about the layers. So I'm going to go right around the nose and the beak area, and I'm going to just kind of scumble in some of this dark detailing. Whoops. A little crazy there. You can tell I'm not used to these really small brushes. Kind of just doing lots of movements there. So give it the illusion that it's feathers. Let's see, I do need. So watch when you use black, ladies. Most of the time when you see like a true black, a lot of times it's more like in the eyes. You might see a true black. So kind of be careful unless you're doing like a whimsical. If you paint in a whimsical style, then by all means you can of course do that and have so much fun with it. But if you're doing something a little more realistic, look at the color saturation and before you go throwing black on there. All right, so a lot of times you'll see it in the eyes. But a lot of times when you're looking at other colors at other areas, it might be more of a gray or a charcoaly kind of a color, right? So something to think about. I'm always trying to give you guys little tips and little tidbits. So there's where I put in the actual black. So you can see how that stands out, right? That dark black eye. And then what I want to do is I want to make sure that I drop just the tiniest little drop of light into the eye. And I'm not using white. I'm going to use just a little bit of a lighter color. It could be, I'm just going to use that milky white. And let's see if I can get it. Try not to get it right directly. So tiniest little speck of light on that eye. It gives it a little bit of life, doesn't it? So pay attention when those of you that are painting animals or people or anything like that, that's kind of what gives them life. And so I am going to actually go around the eye and oops, too much water. You can tell I'm not used to these littles, painting this little. It has been fun though, I have to say. I'm going to try to going to try to continue to paint some of these smaller ones periodically. But I do, it does take some getting used to for me. I'm like, big, the bigger is better. It's not really better. It's just different, right? Know that it's better. All right. So I have some brown in here. I need a little bigger. Now I'm mixing just all these colors, like some of the raw sienna, because even though it's darker, it has a little bit of creamy, goldy, creamy kind of look to it. So for this year, my thing for myself, my challenge for myself has been leaving brush strokes in, not removing all of my brush strokes, not making everything smoothie. Okay, so that has been what I've been working on as my personal art challenge. So I would love to know if all of you have an art challenge. Do you have something that you challenge yourself with every year? What is it? Type it in the comment section. I'd love to know. And I'd love to know who's still here. Are you still here watching? Let me know if you're still here watching. Are you still invested? All right, so let's go. Let's see. Where am I on my color? Getting too light, and then I go too dark. Too dark again. Very wet. I got to get used to the small painting. There we go. That's better. This is just a student grade brush right now. So like if you come in here and take a class, these are pretty much the student grade brushes that I have. So, and that being said, I love professional brushes, good brushes, and I use really good brushes on a regular basis. But I mean, honestly, I don't like people getting caught up in the whole like having to use a specific this or that, you know. I think that's where people get hung up. And I always say, like, think about musicians that, you know, great musicians, right? Think about the great ones. And I don't know. Give me a great musician. Great guitar player. This is what it's looking like. So think of a great, I don't know, we'll just throw out a name, somebody. Throw out a name, any name. My point is, if you give an instrument to somebody who has been playing for years and has refined their technique, right? It doesn't matter if it's a student grade guitar or if it is a professional guitar. I mean, of course, a good guitar is going to sound better, but their technique is still there, is what my point is. So that's what my point is about not getting hung up on, you know, not creating because you're waiting to get all of the things. I just really need you to be creating. That's really what you need to be doing. And then as you can afford things, then you can get it. Little by little, start adding to your collection. And then before you know it, you have all the tools that you need. But you don't, my point is, you don't have to run out in one day and get all the things before you paint. You can start painting with whatever you have. Thanks, Bobby. Believe it or not, I'm starting to get warm now. All right, so my brush strokes are getting smaller and getting a little, it kind of makes him fluffy, I guess, as you work on them. I like fluffy birds, and I like chunky birds and fluffy birds, and okay, I'm getting warm. All right, let me show you guys. You can see how fluffy he's getting. I'll try to hold it really still. So you can see where my brush strokes are still there, but they're getting shorter and a little more movement to them. And that's what's given him that little fluffy look. Also, I don't even have white on my palette. And that's not something that I will use probably until, I don't even know if I'll need it really, because he's actually, I keep saying she, it's a little girl. She's actually more creamy. So I don't really know. I could probably use even a little finer brush. Which will probably help. But yes, we actually painted this in the Creators Club, and one of them anyway. And they did really good. I kind of give them choices too, so some of them painted some other birds, but I did give them some choices. She is a little, she's still really, really pretty, but she is a little more subdued. Like, they don't have as much, they have a lot of texture to them, but compared to the males, just a little a little bit softer in color and all that good stuff. Putting all that lighter color. Let's see. Checking out my app. It's got some new features here I didn't even know. I feel like as I'll get her little nose fixed, and it's gonna be nice. And then her little legs. Put that on here. Let's see, let's get her nose fixed a little bit. It needs to be. Down just a little bit. So this will be sent out tomorrow. I was hoping to get it sent out today, but did not make it. That's a little bit better. I think it needs to be a little more. I think what I'm going to do now is do a little bit of a wash with, I think it's what it needs. With a little bit of the, whoops, clean it up a little bit better. So let's see. This was the Raquella ochre. I'm going to do a little bit of a wash with the yellow ochre. So basically, a wash is just, I've got the pigment, the color, and I'm going to water it down quite a bit. And then I'm just washing it over top of some of these areas. It kind of gives it a little bit of a glow. Yeah, I feel like that's so you can can tell where I added some of that yellow. And let's see, let's do a little. Pretty wet, so it's got a lot of shine to it. So the washes, what that does, it's still going to allow you to see everything underneath. But yet it's just going to kind of tone it in certain places. So now I want to go back in and just pop in some of these brighter areas. Fire starter, which is like an orange. Just needs to be a little more on the orange tone. Slightly a little bit in the back. And she has to have a little bit of color. That almost looks like it's a little bit. Let me just blend that a little bit. You can pull off with the brush just like you can pull on. So I'm kind of pulling off the paint and then offloading it just to kind of soften it up. It's so weird because I'm looking at the screen, and the screen it's looking way more yellow. So I'm wondering, should go. Let's go a little bit. I'm gonna grab that raw sienna, which is a little more like orangey brown, and let's add some of that in. That'll be good. getting, let's see. Thanks, guys. So nice, I can kind of see. Impressed that you use it. Well, Jude, you know how I am. I like big brushes, and I cannot lie. I'm just used to painting larger. That's my problem. That is my problem. Well, I think this is gonna help him pulling that raw sienna. It's gonna warm it up a little bit. I mean, by the time I get done with this, and I'll probably finish the last layer tomorrow probably, and I'll do some little fine layers to it. I'm gonna have to put his feet on too. So probably come in and do some of that. So I feel like it needs to dry. The problem is it's so small that it needs to dry. But I do think that the raw sienna helped. I'll show you. I feel like that did help. Let me. Okay. Throw some white on here after I said I wasn't going to, but guess what? I'm going to. And then I'm going to just do these little tiny, if I can, little tiny highlights. Ever so slightly on his little belly where it's the lightest color. I think I'm going to mix it in with some of that milky white just to tone it just a little bit. Thanks, Judy. How are you, my Judy? My Bobby and my Judys are here. So I think what I'm going to do, so you can take, I mean, guys, you can really get detailed with some of the stuff, which I don't think I'm going to be getting extremely detailed, but with every layer you put on here, it can get just more and more minute, and get pretty serious with the layers. I feel like the little mouth needs to. I don't know. Anyway, let me just change this. There we go. Let's see if I can show you guys. So this is kind of where it's left off. I feel like I've got a little, probably fix that little dark spot right there on the head, but I feel like she's pretty good. And then, like I said, you can see all those yummy background colors, and I may do a little more just to tone all of that down a little bit. Hi, Michelle. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I'm going to try very hard to do some smalls for, at least for like the live sales and stuff like that. So everything's not so big because, I know everybody can't buy the great big ones all the time, and just it's a habit. Bad habits are hard to break. But anyway, I think she's looking pretty good. She's looking like "don't touch my nest or I will hurt you" kind of look on her face, right? So anyway, the eyes, remember, get the light in the eyes, and yeah, make sure you do that. I like her. I think I got her nice and plump and pretty much nailed the color. I feel like the color on her, I'm gonna adjust it just a little bit. The color on her wing needs just to be a little bit brighter, I feel. Just a tinge. Just a tinge. So, but that's kind of something that you'll do as you're working. You will definitely, I always say, fresh eyes. You come back with fresh eyes, and then you'll be able to see what something needs, right? You'll be able to see if it needs something a little bit darker, something a little bit lighter, all the things. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Let's see if that looks a little bit better. We'll see. I think I have to quit looking at her at this point. So thank you, Judy and Michelle and all of you. Thank you so much. So I want to just kind of give you a final look at her. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'm going to try, like I said, it's on my list for the upcoming year to be doing regulars. I'm going to try to at least 1 to 2 times a week be doing either, some kind of a painting project, whether it's furniture or a little bit of art that I'm doing live. Not necessarily teaching step by step or anything like that, but just coming and letting you all watch and all that good stuff. So look for that this coming year. So got big plans, big things going on. So if you made it all the way to the end, let me know in the comments below. Let me know you're still here. Let me know what you would like to see in some of the upcoming lives that I might be doing. I would love to know if you are interested in learning some furniture painting techniques, if you're interested in seeing me paint a specific topic or technique, or maybe a watercolor. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you're interested in, because that's how I learn. All right. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope you all have a great week. I will talk to all of you really soon, okay? Thanks for being here. Bye.